These are some of my favorite videos to film because I love looking back at my planner journey throughout the year in a specific planner. And today we're going to be taking a look at my Hobonichi cousin for 2023. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now that we are at the end of 2023, I thought it would be so much fun to take a look back at how my 2023 Hobonichi cousin has evolved. Now, just for a little bit of comparison, here is my 2024 Hobonichi cousin. So you can see my 2023 book got quite a bit fluffy, probably not as fluffy as maybe some of the other Hobonichi cousins you might have seen, but you can also see where there is a little bit of a gap in usage, but I'll be sure to go over all of those pages with you guys. I am so excited that I was able to stay in this planner probably longer than I've been able to stay in other planners throughout all of my years of planning in this community and sharing my planner. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I have a clear cover from Midori. I always get asked about this. This is a clear cover from Midori that you can pick up over at Jet Pens. Just be sure to check the description. It will tell you that it can fit the Hobonichi cousin on there. It's a little bit scratched up. Like, this book is very much so well loved. I've got a couple of stickers on here. Some are this is from one of my favorite plant companies. I think this one is from Planner Monkey Co. And then a couple of others are from Redbubble. I love ordering stickers from them for my cover. I didn't put any on the back. I attempted to put a 2023 sticker on the spine and it didn't stay. So there's that. My tabs are from the Coffee Monsters Co. and then just various different tabs across the top there. Okay, so let's jump right in the front pocket. I just have this pocket from the planner spot and then some leftover stickers from a kit that I was using over the past week. I think this sticker is from See Amy Draw. It came with one of my orders, so I stuck it in there. And then I really did not make good use of these two pages. I think I shared this in my setup for my 2024 cousin, and I kind of messed up here. I really should have put these stickers over on this side so that I could have use of the 2023 planner pages or the monthly view, but I didn't do that. So it rendered this kind of useless in my opinion. For the year at a glance, like a vertical view, I started off strong in January and February, and then I tried to come back to it again in August and September, and then I just really didn't use it. I'm hoping to come up with a little bit of a better system, and I do have post-it notes on pages that I would like to keep private, but I'm going to try again in 2024 to make better use of these pages because I really love this setup. I love it so much. It's also one of my favorite pages in the Hobonichi weeks. Obviously, it is a lot smaller, and that is okay, but I just love the amount of space that you get in the A5 version, so I'm really going to try to make better use of it. Going into the month views, I feel like I started off really strong, and then it just fizzled out for me. I'm trying to figure out where the breakdown was, and you'll see in multiple places in this planner that the breakdown for me was when we got ready to move. That was kind of just, everything kind of came to a screeching halt. It was a big move for us, so it's pretty understandable, at least from my point of view. This is when we bought our house in May. That was super exciting. But then I would like put my kits down and then just not really come back to it. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to make use of these pages. I tried to jump back into it in September. You can see I really didn't put a lot in here. And then I had some travel going on in October and then just didn't touch it in November and December. And since I'm going to jump into my 2024 book, kind of don't see the point of planning January, February, and March in here. Now let's take a look at the weekly pages because I also did see a little bit of evolution on these pages as well. I feel like I started off very strong, and I love kind of bouncing back between using kits and not using kits. and just kind of using leftovers of kits. Like this is a good example of a week that I actually really loved in here because it just worked for me. I put down what I needed to put down. I think this is actually like leftovers of a Coffee Monsters Co. kit. But one thing that I've noticed in my weekly views of my planning is that I'm really, really good at setting up my weeks, like the week view, but I'm not the greatest at following up with it. So that's something that I definitely want to work on. Again, I really gravitated towards the week where it was less stickered. I don't know, that's just where my brain was this year, and that's how I noticed it. And I liked sort of this combination of a little bit of stickering because I love stickers. Those are never going to go away for me. But February came along, and I think it was when we were getting ready to head to Go Wild, and that's when I kind of just dropped off of using this book and just moving in general. So I really did not plan in here for several months, and then I kind of tried to come back to it. So here we are in March and April. And I tried to come back to it with like a different sort of perspective, like let's add some more lettering, maybe get away from using the kits so that I can kind of, you know, form my own style in here. And it worked for a little bit, not gonna lie, it worked for a little bit. And I liked this, but I also didn't like it. I don't know. This was also one of my favorite weeks. One of my absolute favorite weeks where I just used washi and lettering, and I absolutely loved this. And you'll kind of see where this kind of comes back later on. And this was another week where I did the same thing. Not so much of using a kit, but I used a lot of the Coffee Monsters Co. emojis in here, and I love this so freaking much. I think that this washi might also be from Planner Monkey Co., but I'm not entirely sure. It's one of my favorites. And then, you know, April came along and we put an offer on the house. This was the end of April. I think we closed at the end of May. And April just kind of like came along, and like I didn't touch the weeks in here until I want to say July. Yeah, July, at the week after we moved, or 2 weeks after we moved. I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back into this. I still wasn't touching my monthlies as much, but I was ready to get back into some sort of planning to build out habits and routines in our new place, new state, everything. And I adore this kit from the Coffee Monsters Co. It is just one of my favorites. I love anything with lemons, actually. Lemons are definitely my jam. And then I tried to incorporate more of the lettering again. I believe this kit is from Nicole Hutch Designs. And just another week where there were intentions. There were intentions there. And I just did not stick with it. And then I kind of went back to, hey, maybe we could just do the pen and marker situation. I think those are actually little stickers there for the dots. And then we also adopted our puppy, so that kind of took up a lot of my time. And I went back to like that previous style that I was talking about, where it was just a lot of marker and lettering, and you can kind of see it kind of make a reappearance, if you will. And then the kits start to come back as well. I also love this kit. I think I actually filmed this, but this was also one of my favorite weeks where I was like, you know what, we're gonna do no stickers at all and see how I feel about it. Then we had Nathan's 21st birthday, and I was like, I've got some kits to use up, and it's time to start doing that. And went back to the same thing. It's like cyclical with me, right? There's like stickers, and then there's like no stickers, and then there's a little bit of stickers. And then I went out of town for the Beyonce concert with my friends, and I wanted to throw in some photos here, but these photos also repeat in the daily, so I really tried to back off of putting photos in the weekly view. I believe this kit is from Once More with Love. It is just so freaking cute and cozy, and I love it so much. I think this is like ideally, like if I continue to use kits in here, which I probably will, because I do love them, and I like the more scaled down look in the Hobonichi Cousin, because everything is obviously smaller than 7x9. That's just me. But I also love this color palette of just like the soft, like light brown, dark brown with a little bit of blue in it. Really, really pretty. Skipped a week. That happens. tried to come back to it. I think this is actually the week that I was traveling to Canada, so I wasn't in my planner a whole lot. I do know in my exact itinerary, so at any time I can just go back and actually fill this in, which I should probably do. And then I believe this is another Once More with Love kit. I really love them. I need to go back to their website and maybe order a couple of more, or I should actually just take inventory of what I have before I do that. Here we have Halloween week, or like the week prior. I was so torn, like what do I use when Halloween is on like a Tuesday, right? It's like not the majority of the week, but nonetheless, I wanted to use some Coffee Monsters Co. stickers from, I believe one is from some of the sub boxes, and then the other is from their washi tape. And then I realized that I had a ton of Let's Planet kits and I really needed to use them. So I had a few weeks where I used their sticker kits. And then again, when I have a busy week, I'm not planning in my weekly and obviously not planning in my monthly either. I really rely on my dailies, and that's where you can really see how things evolved. And back to kits again. I kind of just flowed back and forth. Kits and no kits. Kits and no kits. Like I really do love weeks like this where it's more like icon type of stickers. I don't know. I go back and forth. And then this was the week before last, and I really started, I wouldn't say like hardcore time blocking, but I was marking off like times for things. So yes, time blocking. And then here we are at this week. I always share that I love to decorate for holiday weeks, so this week was definitely no different. And now all we have is one more week and we jump into 2024. So jumping into how the year started, I did this 2022 year in review. I got this idea from Cynthia Plans, and honestly, when I do get an idea from someone, I actually write it down in the bottom of my book so that I can remember who to credit, where I got the idea from. But she has this over on her feed. It might be at the end of 2022 on her feed, but it's this prompt of like 15 questions to kind of go over from the year prior. And I'm most definitely going to do this for 2023 in my 2024 cousin. So another reason why we just, in my opinion, should not throw away our planners, because now I can reference it and add this in my book. I did like my intentions for 2023. Now, honestly, a lot of the things that I noticed looking back on this book was 2023, I had all of these goals and intentions, and then the move was not part of my goals at all. So it felt like there was a huge like misalignment with my goals, and it was kind of like just kind of learning to accept that because, you know, things happen, life happens. And then I did a Hello 2023 with my word of the year, and my word of the year was strength. And I had absolutely no clue how much I was gonna rely on that word for 2023. But again, so many things happened that were completely unplanned. And then I just kind of wrote the definition and had a quote with the word strength in it. And that's just how I started off the year. Now, I did a lot of journaling. I really wanted to use these pages just for that. But what a lot of people may or may not realize is that I spent literally the first quarter of 2023 sick as a dog. I got the flu, bronchitis, and COVID in December of 2022, and it dragged on with all of the side effects for months. Literal months. I don't think I truly felt 100% until around May. And that it truly sucked. Like when I tell you I had like long COVID symptoms, it kicked my ass in so many ways. I had a couple years prior, I had a cardiac ablation due to a ventricular tachycardia that was found after I had my hysterectomy. It's like a series of unfortunate events, right? And then having COVID, the flu, and bronchitis, I suffered side effects that affected me cardiac wise, and it just kicked my ass. And it's very well documented in here, like another trip to the ER. I spent more times in the ER than I even care to like share. A lot of it affected my breathing and my heart rhythm, and it sucked. It sucked. I was on steroids for months. I'm just like, when I was looking back at this to prepare for this video, I was like, holy shit, I was so incredibly sick. I was so incredibly sick. It was bad. It was bad. I wish I could go into more detail than that, but it just really sucked. And I journaled a lot, and I wrote down my feelings about a lot of things, and I got creative with my lettering. I lettered so much. This is when I started to do a lot of like my, almost like my wrapped type of like recaps and things like that, and I loved it so freaking much. I remember this day specifically, I thought I was starting to feel better. I was like, for the first time in 5 weeks, by then it had been 5 weeks, and then I was immediately down again. I dealt with so many migraine issues. Work, I think I had just returned to work, and we had like a dinner with some of the executives, and I just like threw it down because I was like, I don't even know what to put in this book anymore. I was just, again, ridiculously sick. And it wasn't like sick to where I couldn't be around other people. It was just dealing with all of the side effects of being sick. Got some happy mail from Go Wild, so I just put the sticker in there. And then, you know, getting ready for our trip to Atlanta, that was fun. I do have some pages clipped together with like super personal stuff because I don't want to accidentally flip to it. But we went to a really fun event in Atlanta that was Hogwarts themed. And then on the way home, I got pulled over again. Somehow in the months of December, January, and February, I got a speeding ticket each month. That was wonderful. I just continued to journal. I actually liked this page. This is when I started to do my monthly recaps, and I loved it so freaking much. I think this is when I started to realize that yes, indeed, we were going to move to Texas, because I see this little snippet where I'm like, Go Wild, trips to Texas. The trips to Texas really was some plans for the move for Texas. I didn't share until much later on that we were moving, but it sucked keeping it so secretive. But again, like, all of your moves should not be made public. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, wait until things are solidified. And we had 30 days until Go Wild, so that was super fun. This was fun. I had all the intentions in the world to do this like elaborate tracker that I didn't touch, so that was great. And so then this was the beginning of February, where I was still very sick. One of the side effects I also had was I developed asthma from having COVID and all of those fun things. February reads, I read 1 book. Awesome. Then I did a weekly recap. This started to be super fun. I learned my love of audiobooks. That was great. Weekly recaps then became my thing. And then I did like an unsubscribe list, which I will now do every January and not every February, but I canceled all of my subscriptions to things because I really wanted to see, not because I didn't love the products, but I really wanted to see what was it that I needed. By this point, I knew that we were moving and it was time to cut off all subscriptions so that things didn't continue to come while we were moving or after the fact, that after we had moved, and then things would be going to our old house. So even here, it was like new opportunities for our family. I had to be, again, super vague, but we had known at that point that we were moving for sure. And I think too, this is when I journaled a lot. Like, looking back here, I know exactly what this was about. Lots of decisions to make with no clear timeline. I think at this point we were deciding, when does Jesse move? When do we move as a family? What does that look like? And it was just a lot of decision making, and I was just done. And then I decided I was going to be a bullet journal girl, and then that didn't work out either. I did order a bullet journal. That's kind of cool that I put that in there. I think I still have that bullet journal, and it's still sitting in the plastic. We started painting rooms. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but when we painted Kayla's room, I also decided that I was going to touch up the paint in my office, and that's how we got to Super Bowl Sunday, and I spilled paint all over my planners. There's actually a little bit of paint on my Hobonichi cousin from that event. Somehow it didn't affect my cousin cover, but it affected my week's cover, but there is paint on several of these pages. from that event. So that was fun. Then I just really got into the daily pages in here in February. Where it started to die down was closer to Go Wild, and I swear it happens with every Go Wild, and I think it's because I get super excited about the planners that were given there or seeing other people's planners, and I want to try all kinds of new things, because you can see I just kind of use these pages to just practice some lettering in here, but I did not come back to it really not much in March either. I kind of flagged this page because these were video ideas, some random notes that I put in here that I didn't want to forget about, some lettering, and then I don't think I came back in here at all until there was a page in here, I think in March or April. Did some washi samples, attempted to plan, didn't plan, was really stressed out and journaled about it. And then Farewell March. So that was very like anticlimactic because there wasn't a whole lot written on those pages. I remember this day I really had to journal about it because someone at work went into my office without my permission, and I was not too happy about it. Anyway, I think that this page right here on Easter Sunday is where things really changed for me in this book, and I realized that I wanted to do a lot more memory keeping. And you'll see there's also just a lot of pages where I'm really stressed out. Like we were I think just weeks away. We were in the process of buying our house, like doing all of like the pre-qualification, sending over all the documentation. It's a stressful time. I don't care what anyone says. Buying a home is exciting. It is also one of the most stressful times of your life, as someone just asks you for everything about your life and your financial situation. But this was funny because this was a page I couldn't share because I had booked my flights to go to Texas to buy our house. And then I wrote down random facts about Texas, which was interesting. Lots of stress. You're going to see a lot of yellow Post-its because I was like sick and tired of this bullshit. And then again, just tried to get back into the planning of things and just documenting all the things. Lunch with one of my really good friends. And then this was also an event where I was like, that also just derailed a lot of things. So April 26th, we were hit with a massive hailstorm, like something that you would only see if there was a really catastrophic tornado. I'm talking like 30, 45 minutes of nothing but giant hail and some small hail, which is why I wrote the "oh hail no, ha ha ha, everybody please laugh with me so I don't so I don't feel so alone here." But what happened was essentially my house was turned into Swiss cheese. One whole side of our house, like the siding looked like it was just pelted. Like the siding had like, I think we lost count, around 100 holes in it. Our roof had to get replaced. All of the siding had to get replaced. Some of the front of our house was affected, and that took months to get through it. So this is all happening while we're trying to buy a home, realizing that we're going to have to list our home in Georgia, but can't do that until everything is repaired. Now you know why there were so many pages where I was like, I'm stressed the fuck out. And then I wrote this down because Claire from online shared this, and I wanted to have it as a reference that I could use for my 2024 planner. And you can see I wrote inspo, Claire from online. And then I was like, life is lifing, and I can't plan in this planner right now. And I didn't touch it for the rest of May, the rest of June, most of July. I think when I got back into it was after we were settled here in Texas, which is somewhere around the 2nd or 3rd week of July. And I just started kind of going back in pages and doing like swatches and things like that, especially for my ink, because I finally found my ink as I was unpacking. And then I would just journal and memory keep and just kind of, and some days got really messy in here and didn't worry about the pages being perfect. But this is when I really like dove headfirst into printing more photos in my planner and adding more of like a journal type of approach to it. I did like this little fun July recap, like we had a successful move from Georgia to Texas. Nathan got a job. Kayla got a job. I moved over to a new role with my company the day we found out that Go Wild was going to be in Texas. Obviously, just having moved to Texas, I was super excited. So that was awesome. And then I would just kind of flag random pages. This is where I wanted to kind of put like a wish list for my new office area. Some things I got, some things I decided I didn't need. I learned to embrace the empty pages in here and put like washi things. This was me just venting about people commenting on either my weight, my looks, asshole-ish things like that. I'm just gonna put it out there just like that. It got really annoying. And then I, again, just kind of continued with the journaling and the stickering and the photo collages that I absolutely fell in love with. This was when my family finally came to visit us in our new home. And then I think this is from Rebecca Plans. I thought I marked it somewhere, but I really liked the way she had like the priorities at the top of her daily, so I started adding that in my planner as well. And then, you know what, some days I just didn't plan, and that was okay. We were still getting settled here. Pumpkin cream cold brew came back. That was fun. I would jot down ideas for content and things like that. National Dog Day, still got to go back and put Loki and Brody's photos in here, but I think I really started to find my groove in here, and I was like set all the other planners aside and came back to the Hobonichi Cousin full time, and again was doing the monthly recaps, setting goals for the month. I think when I shared this, I actually had this covered because I had already designed the cover for Moxie Life like the year prior. Or early in 2023, I believe, maybe December 2022, January 2023. So I knew it was happening, but I couldn't exactly share it. And then, yay, we get to September and we sold our house in Georgia. I had lots of big feelings about that. It was finally announced that I would be a cover artist for Moxie Life, so that was really cool. We had Nathan's birthday. I did my weekly recap, and you can see how those evolve over time. But this was just really fun to look at. My cover reveal day with Moxie Life, that was really cool, so I printed that. Some days I just didn't do anything in here. I would use my pages for like a packing list. I really just really, this is where I learned how to use the empty pages, and also took the weight off of planning on Sundays in my planner. And I would do that with these weekly recaps because I loved them so much. Like, I already know I'm not going to use my daily pages 7 days out of the week, so why not use one day for a weekly recap? And then here's another example of taking an empty day, and I was just like, here's my Black Friday shopping list, and even though I didn't fill it out all the way, here's my planner supplies that I think I'm going to stick to for 2024. Then we had Houston in here, and I used it as a memory keeping spread, which I am obsessed with. Like, if I could, I would take this out and frame it. I love this so much. And then, of course, another weekly recap, and went back to just my usual daily planning. This was the Moxie Life launch day, and my cover sold out on that day. That was really cool. I experimented with using my Canon selfie more and doing my recaps in this sort of collage way, and making like bookmarks for like a weekly recap. And then I started doing more like, okay, we're gonna have the habits up here, but an about today here, and I would just journal just a small little snippet about the day of what happened, you know, what was great, what wasn't so great about it. I think I just did a random currently page here because I had a lot of photos that I wanted to add to my planner, but I was obsessed with this. I changed up the pens that I was using and loved it so much. This page always makes me laugh because I started to move my office and then I moved it back. It was pure chaos is exactly how to describe it. Now we're finally to Halloween week, and I will always love that picture of me, Kayla, and Loki. This right here has got to be my favorite spread of my Hobonichi Cousin. This one and Thanksgiving. We're almost there. I just love it so much. I started pulling out like my journaling kits from different shops and just obsessed with how this turned out. And then jumping into November, again, I just kind of embraced like a lot of just, if it got filled in, it got filled in. If it didn't, it didn't. It wasn't the end of the world. And then Helen from Coffee Monsters Co. shared her daily journaling prompts, and I copied it over into my planner, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for those days where I don't have a lot to write, then I can go to one of these journaling prompts if I wanted to, which I absolutely love. So I started to do it that way. Prompts about today, a little bit of a habit thing. These pages can get filled up. I always hear from a lot of people, oh, I don't have enough to write in the A5. I'm like, I promise you, you do. If you have as much to say as I do, you do. This was our weekend in Dallas to go see the Cowboys game. It was a combination of Jesse's birthday and our anniversary. I love this page too because I did a weekly recap along with like a random thoughts page and then more washi. Always, 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 if you have an empty page, just throw some washi on it. I bought some washi from Archer and Olive and I love it so much. And now it's a reminder to pull that washi back out to use after the holidays. This is where I thought I was getting sick. Slightly paranoid about that because I'm not gonna lie, after being sick for so many months last year and the beginning of this year, I was like, I cannot do that again. A little weekly recap, and here we get into the holiday season. We got our house lights put on, and I love this spread. It's obviously purely journaling, a lot of photos, a lot of thoughts about how the weekend went with family, so that was super fun. And I love pages like this. I use my Canon selfie for a lot of these photos and they turned out so great. I love the different sizes of photos that you can print with the Canon selfie. You should have seen that video where I share the differences between the selfie and the Canon Ivy. Hopefully you have seen that by now. If not, just go back a video or two and you'll be able to find it there. And now here we are towards the end of November. My November recap is probably my favorite recap of all of the monthly recaps because I didn't use any photos. I just did lettering and some journaling stickers and some washi, and it really like encompasses November like perfectly. And then I did Helen's journal prompts again that she shared over on her page over at the Coffee Monsters Co. And you can find that over on Instagram. I'll probably do that every month as long as she shares it. And then I didn't do it all the time. You'll see where I did a prompt, but I didn't do a prompt this day. I was just sharing. I am actually still in my bread making era. And apparently I take a lot of pictures when I make bread. So there's that. I didn't do my weekly recap on the first week of December, but that is totally okay. I did a reel called I'm a Planner, and I wrote down just what I was going to talk about in that reel. And then I got some new washi from Lauren Phelps Design. Just did a fun little like Sunday. I did a weekly recap, but I also had some to-do list things to get done. And I really like the way this page came out, so I might do that again. And then these couple of days, we've had a busy like week or so I haven't exactly filled it out entirely. Then I tried a new layout after watching Saray Plans. Again, I always put where I got the idea from because I always want to credit the person that I got the inspiration from. And I love it, but of course, I think when you get inspiration from somewhere, and this reminds me from a Claire from online reel, it's like get the inspiration, but then try to make it your own kind of thing. And that's what I did here on this day. Like I was like, I kind of want to change up this side of the page so that it works better for my style of planning. And so that's what I did. I did a weekly recap using Canva. This was fun. Like I said, we had a super busy week, so I created a collage in Canva, printed it on vellum, and glued it. Seriously, the best thing ever. And that is where we are at. Like we literally just have a couple of, as I butcher my planner, we literally only have like a couple days left, you guys, and that is it. Now, I am going to use these last two pages for a big like 2023 memory keeping session in here. And as these big things have happened, I kind of kept a running list back here so that I could go through my phone, and I'm going to create one big collage back here. And that is how we are going to wrap up my 2023 Hobonichi cousin. I hope you guys enjoyed this flip through of the full year, sort of, more like 9-10 months in this planner. I truly love this book. For about 2 seconds, I thought about switching to a different bound A5 book, possibly the sterling ink. It's not 100% off the table, but this will be my third year in the Hobonichi cousin, and I am So freaking excited. I'm hoping that I do stick with it this time all year long, just not just 9 to 10 months, and make better use of the pages that I struggled with in my 2023 book. So we will see, and I hope you guys come along this journey with me. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it was a little bit of a long one. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you are already subscribed, make sure you click that notification bell so that you know when I post here on YouTube. As always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.